was like, oh, you still sound a little bit Mexican because I am Mexican.
All right, we're here with Natalia, and she is an English teacher from Mexico City.
Hi. Hi, Erica.
So, Natalia, how did you become an English teacher?
I originally studied veterinary medicine, and while I was making my thesis and all that, I was offered, like, do you want to come to my school and teach biology? And I said yes. It was okay, but this one day, the English teacher was absent, and they asked me if I could substitute for her, and I just loved it. It was great. Yeah, I just decided to change.
Okay, and then you went on to study to become an English.
Yeah, I got a certificate after that. I just ditched my veterinary medicine studies completely.
And what kind of certificate was it?
Back then I got the TTC. It's called the teacher training course. And they taught it at a local school. It's not like certified by Cambridge or anything, but it was enough to get a job here in Mexico.
And what did you like about English teaching?
I would say my favorite thing is that English is a tool, and because of that, you can use it to talk about anything, to explore any topic. For example, when I was teaching biology, well, some of my kids just were not interested in biology, and that's fine. But if you have English as a tool, then if someone likes Star Wars, you can talk about Star Wars. Someone likes animals, you can talk about that. Books, like you name it, you can talk about anything.
So what's your favorite part about teaching English?
Well, many things. I think it allows you to meet many different people. Like, for example, I had the chance to teach in Russia and communicate with, because of course I don't speak Russian, and of course they didn't speak Spanish. And we were able to communicate entirely in English. And so I like that. I like that you can talk about anything. And as I said before, I like that it's a tool. Some people come to English class and they think they're just going to sit and you're going to go talk for an hour. And that's not the way it works. You do not learn if you're just listening to the teacher speak. And so I like that it has to be interactive.
Right. What's the biggest challenge for you teaching English?
I would say the biggest challenge is that the same thing. Some students just think that they're going to come and sit and that's it, and just listen to me. And when they realize that no, they actually have to go back home and do more work and study grammar and just drill and study vocabulary, kind of like memorize stuff, well, that's not so fun for most of them. And that's, I think, the biggest challenge, that seeing that students get frustrated because they're not making the progress they want, and knowing it's because you're not studying as much as you need to. And they're like, yeah, I don't care. I don't have time. Yeah. And you will never have time to study English. You have to make time.
Do you think there are problems with English being the international language?
Well, I guess the most obvious thing is that those who speak it as their native language, will always have a huge advantage. But at the same time, I think there can also be some advantages. Like, I don't think it's one of the most difficult languages, but maybe I'm biased because I learned it when I was young. I'm thinking about other problems about it being like the universal.
Like, it's also been used historically as like a colonizing tool and to push capitalism, and a lot of like native languages have died out. But it's also like created this power structure, like you said, where people who speak it fluently are always going to have more power, at least in most places in the world.
But I mean, I know that this interview is for me and not for you, but like, how do you feel about it? It's like, oh, look, I already speak English.
Yeah, I think, I listened to this podcast about it, and they were talking about if you get a group of people who speak English as their second language, and they get together, they feel very comfortable and they have no problem like communicating. But then when you introduce a native English speaker to that group, then all of a sudden they're like really self-conscious of their English, and like the native speaker brings all these like idioms and just like a lot of language that's not really necessary to communicate what you need to. But really, should all these non-native speakers be trying to rise to the level of like a native speaker, or should native speakers have more of an understanding of like this global English that's like more direct and not so like idiomatic, like all this like cultural language is not really necessary, right?
Oh, you know what? I think I have like a better answer or something to compliment. I don't think it's a problem per se. Like, sure, there will always be people who are native speakers. That's it. We cannot change that. And we're also not going to change it as like, oh, we're going to make Esperanto the new world language. It's not going to happen. I think what needs to change is the attitude that people have towards it. Like people expect you to have like a near native level to get a job. Why? Why? If I can communicate well, if people understand me, I understand them, that should be it. Like there's a lot of discrimination about accents. I was like, oh, you still sound a little bit Mexican because I am Mexican.
Yeah.
I in fact intend to sound Mexican because that's who I am. So, but a lot of people don't like that. And I think that is what we have to change, or like the general attitude about it.
Yeah. Do you ever run into discrimination, like getting jobs or like students who are like, oh, you're not a native English?
Oh, yeah. I just like flat out, there are many jobs like abroad that literally say like US, Australian, British passport required. That's it. No, they won't even give me a chance to speak or see all my certificates, nothing. You need to have a passport that says that you're from that country, period. And it makes me mad because they would hire someone who doesn't even have a certificate and doesn't know how to teach English just because they speak English from that country. And it's not like that. Just knowing a language does not allow you to teach it. It's not as easy as it seems.
Do you think there's any possibility Spanish would become an international language? I guess it sort of is in a lot of places, but
I think it's like the runner-up, but I do not see it overtaking English anytime soon, honestly. I think countries that speak English are still wealthier and more powerful, and because of that, they will continue to have power.
Yeah. I guess my philosophy is like, yes, English is kind of this, there's like negative parts, certain power structure, but also we're already there. So it's like, I either can help people become more empowered and maybe participate more in the economy and get better jobs, or not. It's like knowledge is powers. It's just kind of like the way it is. If we can get more people without power to be more in control of their life, have some upward mobility, like that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I as I said before, I think the problem is mostly the attitude people take towards it. You wouldn't believe the number of students I guess like, no, I want to improve my English. And I talk to them and I'm like, dude, your English is already near perfect. What do you want? What do you need? You can already communicate maybe 99% of your ideas. That's good enough. It's like, no, but I still do not sound like a native speaker. Why do you need that?
Yeah.
And I think we can change that more easily than we can like take over English.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I definitely know non-native English speakers who they know more vocabulary than most native English speakers, right? Because
that's another thing that we should learn from you guys, because like you see someone who goes on vacation to Cancun and they know like 7 words of broken Spanish and they go and use all of them. And they're very proud of their 7 words that they know. So why are we always like, oh, I'm sorry that my English is not perfect. Oh, I'm sorry that I have an accent. You go and you speak however you can, and you don't have to be embarrassed of it.
Yeah, I think that's a normal feeling, especially as adults, because we learn language as children. I think we equate language with intelligence. So if people feel like they can't sound intelligent in a different language, it's scary, embarrassing.
Yeah, but I have never seen an American apologizing for having bad Spanish.
Yeah, I don't know I think we're not used to speaking other languages. We're not used to having to speak other languages, Oh, pat on the back for knowing 7, like most Americans don't know any. So
Yeah, but I think we have to learn to do that, because that thing you do, like when you pat yourself on the back, it's like, but yeah, but they take it for granted. They were born, well, they to learn English. They didn't have to do anything.
Right.
We had to do all of this work. So if you learn your 7 words of English, go and use them proudly, honestly.
So if someone is maybe interested in becoming a teacher, teaching English, do you have any advice or ways to get started?
Well, I would just say, like, definitely get a certificate. Like, it doesn't have to be a super expensive international certificate. Like, nowadays they have many good things online, so look for something there, and you will learn a lot about like teaching strategies and about your own language. Because sometimes it's like, oh, I didn't know that's why we use this word instead of that other, and that's interesting and it's useful. And I think mostly you just have to have fun. If you do not have fun while you're teaching English, maybe it's not for you.